I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Hello, I am Batman. Why am I here? Because I'm Batman. And today, we're going to be taking a look at probably the greatest thing ever starring me, Batman, the animated series. Okay, I can't do the voice the whole time, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was wondering when this mask would come in handy again. But, yep, now you know. I have a cheap little Batman mask. Literally found it at Goodwill for $2. So, yeah. Anyway, welcome back to DC Live. Welcome to yet another Batman movie review. Welcome to Mask of the Phantasm. Probably one of the hardest ones to review because literally anything and everything that could be said about this masterpiece of film has already been said. But you know what? I'm gonna give it my best shot. So, oh wait, I'm not in the right attire. Hold on a second. Get that boring hat out of here. We only wear real hats around here. Okay, backwards. Yeah, I'm all decked out for this one, as you can see, because I am a huge Batman fanatic. And this film is amazing. I'm just going to say that right now. It is as great as you've all heard. So I'm going to do my best to try and give this movie a great, proper review. But, please excuse me if I skip over a decent bit, because a lot of it has already been discussed and dissected by a ton of other Batman fans on the internet that have higher budgets and higher production value videos than me. So, this is just me more explaining my thoughts on the entire movie. So, let's start with the one and only negative I have about this movie. And yes, I mean it, it's the only negative. And that is, the mystery itself is extremely easy to figure out. You know, finding out who the Phantasm actually is, which I will be nice and not spoil it. But I'm just going to say, once you have all the pieces in place, you can figure it out pretty easily. Honestly, you'll figure it out before it's even actually revealed in the movie. And, yeah, I do find that a bit of a flaw because it's supposed to be a mystery movie, but at the same time, I feel like it wasn't really the focus of the film either. It was more about Batman's character, so that's why I'm not being super harsh about that. Not to mention, mysteries are not easy to write. Like, trying to write a good mystery with multiple layers and being unpredictable is a very, very tough task. So, I will be nice to this movie because I love it so much and say that the only negative of the movie is the mystery being predictable. That's literally it. Okay, only negative out of the way. Now it's time to spend maybe an hour or so praising the rest of the movie. And don't worry, I'm not going to give away the big twist about who the Phantasm actually is, but I'm just going to say it's predictable. That's all I'm going to say. But everything else I may or may not spoil, so that's your heads up. If you haven't seen this movie yet, what are you doing? Go watch it right now. It came out years ago. It should not have flopped at the box office. Yes, I'm still salty about that, but it is still an amazing movie, and we have a lot to discuss, so grab a chair, grab some popcorn. Maybe, if you're as big of a Batman fanatic as I am, grab your bat mask, and let's dive into Mask of the Phantasm. Well, before we do, I should actually explain how I actually saw this movie. 2 years ago, after hearing so much praise about the movie from a bunch of other people, and no, I wasn't spoiled about the twist, I finally got to sit down and watch it myself. And yeah, it is a phenomenal movie. I had a great time with it, and I'd honestly say it's my second favorite Batman film. Second only to Batman 89, because that's the one that I grew up with. That's the one I'm more familiar with. That's the one I've seen the most times. But no denying this film is incredible. And the first chance I could, I made sure to get it on DVD. But, yeah, the only one I could find when I went is this double pack I got from Dollar General that also has Sub-Zero, which I've never seen, nor have I even heard about, so... Yeah, I mainly got this for Phantasm, and it was only like $4 or $5, so... Yeah, worth it. That's how I watched this movie. Well, rewatched it for this review. So, let's do what we always do. Start with our voice cast. And of course, we gotta start with the big one, and sadly the saddest one. Kevin Conroy is the voice of Bruce Wayne in Batman. As you guys may or may not know, we sadly lost Kevin last year, and it hit a lot of people hard. Myself especially. Even as someone that didn't grow up with the animated series, I already knew of his impact, and I already knew of his incredible, incredible Batman voice. And it sucks that he's gone, but he left us a ton of great Batman content, and this is arguably his best performance of the character, because he has to play Bruce not only in love with another person, but also conflicted and also, like really just contemplating with himself most of the time. Very, very much like this is pretty much this version's Batman's origin story, and you see the progression of how he later becomes Batman. And it's tragic, it's gothic, and it is some of the most incredibly well-written character writing and dialogue and voice acting I've heard in any movie, period. Like, it is so well done here. And even though it's not technically the one from the comic books, it's still very well crafted, very well done, and I'm just going to say it. Best Batman costume reveal of any Batman movie, period. Yes, even over 89. And that's because you don't see the actual costume. You just see Alfred's reaction while everything else is casted in shadow. Like, you know what it looks like. You know it's Batman, but it's done with these shadows and making it feel as grandiose and gothic as the best Batman comics are. So, yeah, that's an amazing part. And Kevin did such an amazing job in this movie. Like, arguably even better than he did in the animated series, which he already did a phenomenal job. And sadly, while I was one of those people that didn't get to grow up with the animated series or this film, I can already more than tell that this was by far the best small screen version of Batman we've ever gotten. Like, no offense to Roger Craig Smith, he does an amazing job as Batman in the Unlimited movies and show, but Kevin Conroy is arguably the second best Batman of all time. Arguably the best Batman of all time, according to some people. Me personally, my favorite is still Michael Keaton because A, he's the guy that came up with the whole Batman has a different voice than Bruce Wayne thing, and B, because it's a lot less predictable than Kevin is. Like, I don't mean that as a negative, I just mean that as in comparison. So yeah, Michael Keaton's an amazing Batman, and then Kevin Conroy is the Michael Keaton of the Batman small screen stuff. So yeah, Kevin Conroy did an amazing job. May he forever rest in peace, and he left us an incredible legacy that's going to continue to be praised and beloved by many generations. Okay, I got that. Let's move on. Then the other mainstay returned from the show we gotta talk about is Mark Hamill as Joker. Literally copy and paste everything I just said about Kevin Conroy's Batman with Mark Hamill's Joker. Like, I don't even know what to really say about Mark Hamill's Joker, aside from the fact that he plays into a great twist later in the movie. And not only that, I also like that he's the B villain in this movie. And that's something you don't see very often. I mean, come on, it's the Joker. Most of the time, he's always the center of attention. But in this movie, he's the B villain. He's the side plot. Like, you never see that. And not to mention, like, it's effective. And he's just as good as he is in the animated series, if not even better here. From his laugh to his character to his tone of voice to, well, the way he literally turns everything into a joke, and you don't know whether or not you're supposed to be scared to death or laughing your butt off. Like, it's Mark Hamill's Joker. Do I need to say anything more? And then I think the only other, well, okay, there's two more people returning from the animated series. Let's talk about Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. as Alfred, who I believe is also from the animated series. Again, please correct me in the comments if I get any of these wrong. But he does an amazing job as Alfred. I'm more used to, of course, Michael Goff, because, again, I grew up with Batman 89, not the animated series, so I'm more able to buy Michael Goff as Alfred, but here is still a really good Alfred. I especially really like all his conversations he has with Bruce, especially the ones that lead up all the way to him becoming Batman. Like, it is some really, really good character writing and dialogue. Like, it's so good. It's so, so good. Anything else? Anyone else returning from the animated series I can actually talk about? One more. Let's talk about Bob Hastings as Commissioner Gordon. Unfortunately, he doesn't really get to do a whole lot because he's kind of just in the movie in the beginning, and then by the second act, he's out of the picture. He's gone because he doesn't want to hunt down Batman like most of the other police. Most of the other police do. Which there's a twist to that, too, which is also really well done. But for the little bit that we get to see of him, he is a very good Commissioner Gordon. And I'm sure whenever I actually get around to finally watching the animated series, I will know this guy and his performance of this character a lot better. But yeah, he does a pretty good job. It's just unfortunate they kind of get sidelined very quickly. So yeah, he does a good job. Okay, now let's talk about some of the new people added to the mix. First up, we have Dana Delaney as Andrea Beaumont. Amazing. I don't really know what else to say here. Like, she's amazing as this character, and you pretty much buy every single stage of her character that the arc with her character goes through. I know, I'm sorry, I'm speaking like a moron, but trust me, it's amazing. You guys are absolutely going to love it when you see it. And again, the way it plays into the twist, masterful. Absolutely masterful. This is definitely a movie they did not just treat as a cash grab to capitalize on the animated series. Instead, this is a movie they really put hard work, time, and effort into, and tried to even top the animated series. Which I don't think people can say it did that, but it definitely is a great addition to that pantheon of that universe. So yeah, Dana Delaney, great job as Andrea Beaumont. Then there's Hart Bochner, voice of Arthur Reeves. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. He's fine. He doesn't really get to do a whole lot, but he's there. And then we have arguably the only other person that can actually match Kevin Conroy's Batman as the best part of the movie, and that is Stacy Keach as the Phantasm. Like, my goodness, this isn't just a scary villain for kids. This is someone that will actually scare adults too. Like, from the way that it disappears from in and out of smoke, the way it's literally can't be hurt, almost like it's a ghost. From the skull mask to the hood to the like scythe hand thing, like, everything about that character was incredibly well done and well designed, and every time it was on screen, chills up and down my freaking spine. And I'm 22 years old and I've watched a crud ton of horror movies. Let that sink in. If it can actually scare me, then you know you're doing your job right. And another thing that also plays really well into the twist of the movie is that Stacy Keach is also the voice of Andrea Beaumont's father. And it works as kind of like, the classic red herring scenario. And it does make the twists work a lot better, even though, again, it's very predictable. But yeah, if Kevin Conroy is not the best part of the movie, it's absolutely Stacy Keach. Like, amazing job to this guy. He did a phenomenal job as both roles, and especially as Phantasm. I really want this villain to come back in more Batman media, because it's arguably one of the most iconic one-shot villains that Batman has ever gotten. Arguably. Even though it's technically more of a vigilante, but most of the movie it's an antagonist. Literally killing people. And while it's not shown explicitly on screen, the deaths are pretty effective. Yeah, there's that. Then we have Salvatore Valestra, who is voiced by Abe Vigoda. He's pretty good, but again, doesn't really get to do a whole lot. And then, as if Kevin Conroy being in this didn't already make me sad, we also have another legend in this movie that has sadly also passed away in recent years. And that is Dick Miller as Chucky Soul. Literally the first gangster to get axed. And, he does an amazing job with this role for the little bit that he gets. Who else is there? John P. Ryan as Buzz is okay, but he's barely in the movie. Who else is there? Robert Costanzo as Detective Bullock is also pretty good, but again, barely gets to do anything. Then there's Pat Musick, Ed Gilbert, Jeff Bennett, Vernie Watson, Peter Renaday, and Charles Howardson as a bunch of additional voices. So, yeah, it's a great voice cast. There are some definite legends in there, and again, if Kevin Conroy is not the best part of the movie for you, then it's definitely going to be Stacy Keach as the Phantasm. Like, amazing job by the voice actors and the voice directors. They did a phenomenal job. And speaking of phenomenal job, let's move on to probably the most blatantly obvious part about this movie that everyone's going to praise right off the bat, the animation. Not only is it done in the animated style of the animated series, and very well at that, but it's also even upped even further. Like, there's more shadows, it feels more cinematic, there's some 3D CGI that you can barely even notice. And especially in the final act at the little carnival setting, with all the explosions, like, it is grandiose and epic in every single way. Like, seriously, the animation here is not only as great as the animated series from what I've seen from clips online, but arguably even better, because it has a full cinematic budget behind it. Just a shame that led to it getting absolutely flopped in the box office, but whatever, life isn't fair. So yeah, there's all that. Where is it? Do they list the writers? Yes, they do. I do want to praise the writers of this movie, because the writers did a fantastic job too, and they deserve some praise. I know I didn't do this for Batman vs. Dracula or Superman Doomsday, but this one absolutely, I have to talk about the writers. So the writers for this movie were Alan Burnett, Paul Dini, and Martin Pasco. All three of them put together a phenomenal script. Like, the character dialogue is believable, all the different action scenes they wrote in is fantastic, and again, while the mystery isn't very good, it still works for the movie. Like, yes, it's predictable, but then again, I'm a 22-year-old man who grew up watching Scooby-Doo. Like, it's kind of just become a part of my DNA to figure out mysteries quickly. So, yeah, it's pretty good, and the writing itself is fantastic, especially the character dialogue. It is so well written, down to earth, and when it needs to be, scary, and when it also needs to be, and specifically because of Joker, hilarious. Like, this is one of those movies that feels straight out of the comic books, despite the fact that This is an original story. This isn't from the comic books. This isn't an adaptation of a comic book like most of these DC Universe movies are. This one is supposed to be just a cinematic, upscaling, one-off adventure of the animated series. Well, not one-off, but one-off theatrical. One-off theatrically, because as you guys know, I mean, they made Sub-Zero, but that one went direct to DVD because this one bombed so badly. Like, again, why did this movie tank so bad? I don't understand. What was in the theater at that time that was better than this, according to the actual box office numbers? Like, someone please tell me in the comments. Like, I don't even want to look that up because it will probably just anger me if I figure out what it is. Just tell me in the comments what else was playing in the time that this was in the box office that caused it to flop so bad. Okay, sorry, I'm done with that. Okay, now let's move on to the actual story, and I'll start by reading the little plot synopsis they have here, and then I'll go a bit more in depth with it, but again, I won't give away the twist. So, the storyline here. Batman, the costume crime fighter who prowls the night skies in Gotham City, soon finds there's another vigilante in town, the Phantasm, knocking off prominent mob figures. Despite the scythe-like blade for a hand, a mechanical voice, and the cloud of smoke that follows the figure wherever it goes, the police and outraged officials mistake the homicidal crusader for Batman himself, and demand that the city's longtime hero be brought to justice. Yeah, a little bit of plot recycling that got used later for Batman vs. Dracula. Meanwhile, Andrea Beaumont returns to town. She's the lost love of Bruce Wayne, the billionaire playboy who is Batman's alter ego and was an integral part of Wayne's decision 10 years earlier to don the cape and cowl. Yeah, the whole way the romance falls out between the two of them is one of the big reasons why Bruce becomes Batman in this universe. It sounds cheap, it sounds formulaic, but trust me when I say it is anything but. It is done in such a mature way, in such a tragic way, in a down-to-earth, very understandable way. Like, nothing about this movie is cheap, or feels cheap. It is all incredibly well crafted and very well executed. Now she is back in his life and is no less a disruption than the return of his old archenemy, the Joker, who has a stake in seeking the annihilation of the new vigilante, who it proves to be. Blank, 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 because I'm not revealing the twist. Like, the story here is great, and when Batman does end up getting chased down by the cops later on in the movie, it is one of the most suspenseful, edge-of-your-seat moments you will see in this movie, or of any Batman movie, period, because it's something you don't see that often. Now, yes, it doesn't really get resolved a whole lot in the ending, because it kind of just gets hand-waved away, but you know what? Whatever. Comic books, I'm willing to give it a pass. So yeah, the story here is incredibly strong, it's very well done, and it plays out just perfectly. It doesn't feel too fast, it doesn't feel too slow, it is perfectly well paced, and its runtime is great. How long is this movie? How long is this movie? An hour and 16 minutes. Like, it is a very short film, and it flies by pretty quick. Okay, I'll reveal one twist about the movie, and that's the actual twist of Joker's involvement. It turns out one of those gangsters that was, shaking down Andrea Beaumont's father for money, is Joker. Or later becomes Joker, and the way it's revealed in the movie is masterful. That's the one twist of this movie that I legit did not see coming. And when it happened, my mind was blown. It was crazy. It was such a great twist. But again, the mystery being predictable did not help a lot, but that's the one twist of this movie I can easily praise. It is very well done. And the whole final battle against Joker at the end of the movie is arguably one of the best Batman-Joker confrontations in any movie, period. It is so cool. From the design of Joker's hideout to the way that he actually uses it to his full advantage against Batman, and one other last little spoiler I'll throw in here. Batman knocks one of Joker's teeth out. And yeah, there's actually some pretty brutal moments, even though there's not a lot of blood, but there's a decent bit of it. Like, it is a brutal, dark, gothic movie, but it's the way that you want it to be for a Batman movie, not to mention, again, a movie that's being an adaptation for the big screen that still takes place in the same universe as Batman the Animated Series. Like, it literally gives you everything you want. Heck, even, what was it, Siskel and Ebert, I believe it was? The two critics that used to do a bunch of these reviews back in the day. They said that this was an incredible movie that was more mature and entertaining than the Batman film that was out that time that was live action, which, when did this movie come out? The 80s, the 90s? 93. It came out in 93. Which means I think around this time it was Batman Forever or Batman and Robin, I believe. Actually, let me look that up. Let me look this up real quick. What? Batman live action movie was playing in 1993. It's not saying. A bit odd. I guess this is probably around Batman Forever or Batman and Robin era of this franchise, because I know it came out before the Christopher Nolan trilogy, so yeah, somewhere around there. And yeah, it was pretty much completely understandable. Like, compared to the movies at that time, this is something much more adult, much more sophisticated, and much more true to the character and the comic book that it was based on. Like, it is an incredible, fantastic, phenomenal movie. It is well written, the story's great, the action's fantastic, the animation's off the charts, the voice acting's phenomenal. Like, everything about this movie works except for the mystery being predictable. That's literally the only thing holding this film back. And even then, it's just a little bit, because I enjoyed this movie so much that at the same time, while it does bug me a bit that it was predictable, it didn't really harm my experience all that much. It is a fantastic, phenomenal, outstanding movie that any Batman fan of literally any age needs to see. Like, this is one of the quintessential must-watch Batman films, right up there with Batman 89, right up there with Batman 2023, right up there with literally, well, the Batman 2022, excuse me. Batman 2022, Batman 89, Batman vs. TMNT, which, don't worry, we will review it when we get to it. Like, it is one of those Batman movies that you absolutely need to see. It is dark, it is gothic, it is grandiose, it is epic, it is tragic. It is everything that you love about Batman. I literally don't know what else to say. Like, if you somehow don't like this movie despite everything I've just said, then you know what? That's okay. I respect your opinion as much as I may or may not disagree with you. Point is, this movie's fantastic, this movie is awesome, and you absolutely need to watch it. And if that mystery wasn't such an easy one to figure out, then this would be a perfect, flawless masterpiece, because everything else about the movie is pretty much perfect. Everything you'd want from a Batman movie, especially one that's adapting an already great universe in the animated series. Like, again, from what I've read online, I haven't been able to actually watch the whole series from beginning to end. I've only seen bits and pieces. You guys know what I mean. Point is, this movie is fantastic, and any Batman fan of any age needs to see it. It is a must-watch film for any fans of this character and any comic book movie lovers in general. Final verdict for Batman Mask of the Phantasm is the highest 9.5 out of 10 that I can possibly give it. If that mystery just wasn't so easy and predictable to figure out, I would have gladly given this a 10. But as it is still a nearly flawless, epic, grandiose, dark, tragic, gothic masterpiece of a movie. Highly recommended for Batman fans, and pretty much highly recommended for anyone in general. Heck, it might be the movie that even gets you into The Caped Crusader. It is a fantastic, phenomenal, outstanding movie, and I literally don't know what else I can say that hasn't already been said without giving away the movie's big twist. So yeah, that's Mask of the Phantasm. Phenomenal, outstanding movie, and if you haven't watched it yet, what are you doing? Go watch it right now. I'm pretty sure it's on HBO Max, and you can find the DVD for very, very cheap. So, you have no excuse. Go watch this movie right now. I literally cannot say anything else. Words do not do this movie justice. You just gotta watch it for yourself. And rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. You will always be the best small screen Batman. Period. Well, that was a mouthful, and I'm pretty sure we've hit the exact same length I've given to Batman vs. Dracula, so yeah, I'm going to be pretty in-depth about most of these Batman movie reviews because I'm such a huge Batman fan, and some of these are first-time watches that I really want to discuss in depth, so thank you guys so much for your time, thank you guys so much for watching, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, let me know your thoughts and opinions on today's review in the comments down below. Please keep your comments on topic. I'd much appreciate it. And if there's anything else that I can do to really, improve my review style or improve my actual video quality, I'll be forever grateful. And don't forget to hit the bell because we still have a bunch of DC movies to go in this big marathon of ours. So, what is next, you may be asking? Well, we gotta return back to the actual DC Universe films and take a look at the second movie in that pantheon. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow for my first time watch and review of Justice League New Frontier.